how are you doing? My name is Elena and I am here to teach you guys an art class. So in the midst of what's happening today in our world, a lot of you are learning from home, from your parents or online with your teachers. Honestly, I'm not sure what it looks like because, truth be told, I'm not a mom. I have a dog. I have an Australian Shepherd puppy. He's 1.5 years. All he needs to know are a few commands, and honestly, we could do some work on those. So either way, you guys are supposed to be learning math, social studies, history, all those kinds of different things, but I'm here for art. So hopefully you're into that sort of thing. This is for all different ages, probably for the younger scale, but if you're older, that's cool too. We can always learn some new stuff. My background, I am an interior designer, so I know a little bit about color. I am always learning more. But today, you guys can probably see what I have set up here. Looks maybe like a rainbow. What you guys have seen, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, indigo, violet, Roy G. Biv, if we're going very specific. What we're gonna do today is learn how to make a color wheel. So we have probably seen over the years how a rainbow looks, color relationships in that kind of world, but really color comes from a color wheel and a color spectrum. To put it simply, we can just stay with what we know, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I am going to toss a pink in there in case your favorite color is pink. I'm sure we have some fans out there and I didn't want to leave you out. But what we're going to do is learn just simply about color itself and then work through an art project together that I hope you can use throughout the duration of the quarantine, the self-distancing, the situation that we're all going through. And hopefully it'll make it easier for you guys to talk about color, how you're feeling, and maybe come together as a family a little bit better. So come with me on this ride. I will be honest, I haven't actually done this project yet. So we're gonna learn it together, which I think is the best way to learn something. If you've done something or you're learning something new for the first time, just jump in. We'll figure it out along the way, and that's kind of the point of why I'm here. So here we go. So when we're looking at what we're gonna need, so supplies. So mom and dad, sister, brother, if you guys are helping with this this project, what we're gonna need are a few supplies. Starting with the number one, we need a paper plate. So this is gonna be kind of our background, our kind of form that we're gonna use to make our color wheel. So that's number one. So paper plate, if that's not around, cut some cardboard into a circle, something like that to give us the round shape because we are going to do a color wheel. Think creatively, think outside the box, you guys. Whatever you can find at your home will work. So if you don't have exactly what I have, no big deal. I am doing some makeshift things along the way, so can you. Other things we're going to need are scissors. So we're going to need to poke a hole. You also might need to cut your paper depending on what you have, because that leads me to the next thing. We're going to be either cutting your paper down. I'm working with paint chips. As a designer, I work with paint chips all the time for my projects. So they come in a nice organized shape for me, which is a big one on my end. But with you, go ahead and cut your, we'll need some paper to be able to cut into some shapes. So either construction paper, you can take plain printer paper and color that. You can do magazines if you want to do magazine clippings and pull all the purple ones together, all the red ones together, and so forth. However long you want this to take for you guys, you can. So when we get to that stage of putting those colors together, P.S. be really safe with scissors. I realize I'm just waving them around like a wand. Not recommended. So safeguard all those around you, hold your scissors safely and never run with them. So also gonna need something like tape, glue. I have hot glue because my patience is limited. Tape will work just fine. If you have a glue stick, that's great. I do not recommend using a hot glue gun if you are doing this alone. If your parents say yes, that sounds great. You've used one before, go for it. You can burn your fingers, so just be careful. Let's see, a split pin. If you don't know what that is an example. You know those pins, you might have used them before, they go through the center of something and then they split on the back. So at the top it would be like a little gold pin, something like that. I personally don't have those. I don't usually do arts and crafts or art projects day to day, but what I did do, I have this old Easter eggs, because you know Easter is coming up. I have this tied off a piece of string, and when we get to the stage of putting together our wheel, I'll use this as kind of the thing that makes it spin. So we'll go through that together. If you don't have one of those, you can use a button and some string, anything that's going to be able to anchor on one side and pull through the other and then be able to tie off. So we'll get to that step. So don't fret if you don't have it. We can figure it out when it goes there. Depending on what level you guys are, you have known the rainbow that I referred to earlier. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So at this point, if you want, you can work on getting your colors together, your color sheets. So these guys, based on kind of sizing wise, it might depend on your plate. So with your support that you have, if it's cardboard or what have you. So I have a pretty long strip. It doesn't need to be this long, however long that you guys want to make it. Just make sure you have one of each color. One red, one orange, one yellow, one green, one blue, one purple, and one pink. Go. So moving on. So the lesson, as you guys create, so you can either pause it or you can listen through and then kind of work together. It is completely up to you. Flexibility in art class. We are not rigid. Do what you need. So I'll talk a little bit about colors, do a little bit of a lesson, and then we'll do the making. So primary colors, oddly enough, my headband are the primary colors. So before I say them, does anyone know what they are? Exactly right. They've got red, yellow, and blue. Those are the primary colors. So if you haven't heard that before, these colors are colors that we can essentially create all other colors from. So when you do your mixing, let's say you're painting, those kinds of things, you can mix those colors. So if you have the red and blue mixing together, they create purple. If you have red and yellow, what do those create? I'm really hoping I remember. Orange. Hilarious, you guys. I did prep for this, but if we're putting together blue and yellow, we get green. So as we move through those, that's what the primary colors are. Those are the ones we need to create all the other colors that exist, which is awesome. So in between, we're looking at the wheel itself. So I'm going to lay it out and show you kind of how we're going to develop it as we kind of talk through what the colors can mean or what they represent, etc., etc. So when we're looking at red, so that's one of our primary colors. When you're creating a wheel, it might be in your best interest to flatten out your plate. Make it as flat as you can. Go ahead and shove it down. Don't be shy. You're in our own homes. You can do what you will. So we want to flatten it out to kind of give that good ground for us, the best that you can. So we'll put our red down. So when the wheel comes together, there's going to be two sides. One is a warm side and one is a cool side. Any guesses which colors on the warm side? Crushed it. We've got red, yellow, and orange are going to be on our warm side. So that leaves on the cool side, we're going to have the green, purple, and blue. And we'll toss some pink. Pink can kind of go either way. I'll let you decide which one it lands on. So when we set this up, you take your colors. We do them in order. So we've got red, then you've got your orange. Boop, 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 boop. We'll put our yellows down. We're going to when we're considering how big our pieces need to be, that's a really important thing. So when I initially started laying it out, I noticed that I was going to have a lot of space and I didn't like how I was going to see a lot of the plate. So if you want to cut more strips, go ahead. That's totally fine. So we're learning as we go. So if you want to have more strips, whether it's the same shade of red or a different shade of red, all the way through the other colors, that's completely fine. So as you kind of we work through putting the wheel together, you can flex how big those little wedges of color are on that wheel. Ideally, they're equal proportion, equal size, kind of like a piece of pizza. So when Papa John's, what's your favorite out there? I'm a Papa John's person, which can be controversial. If you like Domino's or the local hot spots these days, totally okay with it. But if I just need a pizza, I'll end up at Papa John's. So shout out. Now, here's the thing. So that's what I'm meaning. This slice of pizza should be about the same size. So the red one is about the same size as the orange, same size as the yellow as you go through, to make it kind of easy on yourself as you kind of flex it around. So with that, when we talk about warm and cool colors, you can see on this side we've got kind of the warm wing, and this side we kind of move to the cooler wing. You might hear the people talk about warm and cool colors in the context of painting walls. So if your parents have repainted at any time, they might pick every shade of gray or white ever and say, oh my gosh. Typically someone says, these are all the same color, I can't see any difference. And then on the other side, you have someone saying, oh my gosh, I see red in this color. I see a little bit of a cooler tone in this color. And you can choose a warm tone or a cool tone depending on what that evokes or what that makes you feel. So we choose colors in all different ways, for all different meanings, for all different applications. My reference a lot of times is in the interior environment when I'm creating spaces for my job. So it just depends if we're trying to energize someone, we'll use bright, exciting colors that might be a little bit warm. They also might be cool. It just depends on what we're trying to achieve. So there's no wrong choice as long as it's the one that you're trying to make for yourself and the environment you're trying to create. So when we're looking back, we got the warm and cool colors. Additionally, the colors can have meaning. So when you are in your world, right now a lot of us are in our homes, we see color everywhere. That could be on cereal boxes, that could be on your rug, your blanket, your PJs, all those kinds of things all have colors. And there's a reason why you like or don't like them, and you might not know. So let's say your favorite set of PJs. Is there a reason why you like it? A, is there a character on there that you like? B, is it your favorite color? Or are they super soft and you just wouldn't care what color they are no matter what? They're just the softest things in the world. So if we're outside of our house, let's say taking a walk, social distancing, keeping our space between others, we see some colors like a red truck go by. That could be a fire truck, which means emergency, safety, something like that. You could see, let's say, a yellow, really fancy car. That, in our minds, triggers something in us. As adults, we might have an opinion about that. As kids, what do you think? Exciting, fun, fast, right? Something else. If we see the trees, they're green, they're changing, it's spring. That means nature, that means excitement, it means growth. All those things you might not be thinking as you see them, but you might feel them. You might be able to feel, if you go outside and play and you're in all these natural, exciting greens and blossoming flowers, those kinds of things, you might come back and feel energized. And that's because of the fresh air, of course, and moving our bodies, which is also good. I'm not a PE teacher. Ask your parents for whatever lesson that is. However, you come back in and you feel energized. The sunny days make us feel a certain way because everything feels lighter and brighter. So when we think about what colors can do for us, they can have positive and negative impacts. So there's something called color theory that when we consider a theory, that doesn't mean it's fact. That means we can draw some assumptions based on what we've seen. So if you're a scientist, you go through an experiment, and if everything goes either according to plan, or you can tell, yes, here's an answer of why this happened or why that happened, we can create facts. We can draw conclusions that then inform us going further in life. Color theory, because it's not an exact science, that's essentially why it's a theory, that most of us believe something like this because of what we've seen. So in healthcare environments, people like nature. People feel better in nature. That's why a lot of times healthcare patient rooms are either a nice soft blue or a soft green, and there's pictures of landscape, because at that point that's evoking growth, healing, and a sense of calm, which is what we want to feel in a time of stress if we're not feeling very good. So let's change to something else that we might have a little bit more familiarity with: fast food restaurants. That might be just me, but I love a good McDonald's. Does anyone know off the top of their head what colors they use? You're exactly right. The golden arches, so we've got the bright yellow and the bright red. So these evoke excitement, energy, and your attention. Much like a fire truck uses the red, we want the attention for safety. McDonald's wants their attention For what? You to buy a meal, which essentially means B, money. So business. Businesses use color for all sorts of things, to ensure trust, to say we are the best, a big kind of color, bold, sleek, different kinds of things to evoke what kind of product they have. McDonald's, they want you to come in, that contrast. You expect the same thing every time, so it doesn't have that super sleek and clean feeling, but it has that energy, which is why you say, hey, mom and dad, we need to get some french fries. That might be my reference. You guys might have your own. So go ahead and talk about your own amongst yourself if you want. But that's kind of what I think about when I think about colors and what businesses might be wanting to do when they choose those colors. Because when we choose a color for anything, it has to have a reason. So if you choose a color when you're coloring a page, or you're repainting your wall, or you're picking out a new comforter for your room, or you're picking out your new fancy tennis shoes for school, color means a lot, and there's a reason why you chose it. It might be your favorite, it might be a memory that you have with your family, you might have seen it on a friend that you like, and you want to be a part of that, or you want to evoke something, you want to show something to other people and explain your personality. So those all get to be decided with us, and that kind of relates to the theory. We can all define color the way that we want to. So what we're going to go into now really quickly before we start the art project is we're going to talk about what these colors can mean for us. So in a generic term, red can typically mean love. Valentine's Day uses red, right? So love, passion, danger. We talked about the fire truck already, those kinds of things. When you're kind of thinking about red, think of things that mean something to you. Red for me means the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team. That's something I grew up with my family. We watched them, we love them, we cheer them on. There's also the Washington State Cougars, which means something to my family. So for something like that, what does red mean to you guys? Do you guys have a memory or something that you guys get excited about? Or it could be sad, you know? There's different colors. All the feelings, a whole range of emotions we're allowed to feel. So if it's a good color or a bad color, that's okay. So go ahead and jot that down either in your head or on a piece of paper, a little scratch paper, just to remember what red might mean to you. So going through each color really quickly, orange is creative. It also represents fall, autumn, depending on what shade we're looking at. Halloween, very exciting, right? So orange evokes a Halloween. So using the orange and black, we know exactly what that means to us. It can also mean very enthusiastic. So orange can be high energy. I grew up with a sports team. We were orange and black, so it was high energy in the gymnasium, those kinds of things. So it could all mean different stuff to everyone. Yellow, sunshine, joy, summer days. Oh my goodness, it was sunny today. We went down and walked by the water out in Ruston. It was awesome. So that feeling, nice memories. You can even get chills just thinking about it. But that yellow, bright and cheery. Green, nature we talked about with healthcare, growth, natural. Another emotion with green may feel a little bit sick or queasy, depending on the shade of green. Don't need to go into it, but that's something that you might not feel so good. We've got blue, the sky, tranquil. Depending on the shade of blue, it could also mean sadness. It can also mean something that we've lost or something that we're sad about. And that time that we're in right now, I can promise you, your mom, your dad, your friends, everyone that's in your life are feeling a whole range of emotions, a whole wheel of a deal, because we're all uneasy. We don't know exactly what's happening, but I can promise you we'll swing back to the exciting, happy colors. It may be the next hour, it may be the next day, but it's just kind of cool to see how we feel those different emotions. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to today, is that as individuals, we're allowed to feel those colors, we're allowed to feel those emotions, and it's good to voice what you're feeling when you're feeling it, just to get that out there and let people know so they can either support you or understand why you are the way that you are in this current moment. Because I know for a fact, if I'm having a blue day, I'm not nearly as excited to do something like this or talk with my friends or something like that. But it's nice to kind of put that out there to your family and say, hey, I'm having a blue day, I'm having a sad day because of these reasons. And then at that point, you know, you guys can go about your day and they can support you how they need to. When we get to violet and purple, Purple can mean royal a lot of times, so we don't have a king and queen here in America, but royal a lot of times is purple. It can also mean mysterious and power. I was thinking about cartoons. I can't remember who it was. It might be in The Little Mermaid. You guys, it's been a long time. But a lot of those creatures and those kinds of things are different colors for certain reasons. So when you're watching your cartoons, when you're watching your shows, a lot of times you'll see different colors. And try to guess what they mean. If a villain is in purple and black, it's a good chance they need to be powerful. Or if they haven't shown you yet that they are a villain, but they're wearing those colors, you can kind of get a little bit of an insight of what's going on or what's to come in that movie. So I think that's kind of a little cool thing, because I'm assuming you guys are watching a good amount of TV during this time. No worries on that. I finished a lot of series on Netflix myself. So now we're going to get to the project itself. This is the wheel we're trying to achieve. So the goal is essentially to adhere this to your plate, or it doesn't have to be a circle, you guys, we're flexible. Your plate, your background, whatever it is, we're gonna kind of take the next couple of minutes to adhere that, get them glued. They do need to be glued down so they don't flip and flop everywhere, and then the anchor in the middle will be what we use to keep it all together to spin. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that, and we can kind of speed this portion up. You guys, we'll go through one or two of the colors together, and then we'll kind of speed up the second portion so you guys can work as fast, as slow as you want. Feel free, again, to pause whenever you need to. Here I go. Here I go again on my own. So, as we talked about, use whatever glue feels good to you. As we kind of go through, I might start, you may want to just lay it out first, kind of how I did here. Lay it out first and kind of see how it overlaps together. I will admit to you that I went to art class a long time ago, guys. So in all different levels, through my grade school, we did all different art projects. I was a pretty good student, but for some reason, art class didn't get the best of grades. They used to grade us with different letters. So O was outstanding, you can O plus or an O minus. Your girl over here got an S minus, which is, I'll give you it's not good. It's not great. You don't go home and say, "No, Mom, I got an S minus." Well, joke's on them. I went to school for design, passed those classes, no problem, learned so much, have a career, passion. There's things I can do well, there's things I can't do well. That's okay. Just because you don't do well in one class does not mean you can't be what you think you want to be. Follow your passion, follow your heart, and go for what you want. Because if you get excited about it, honestly, when I thought about doing a class like this, I got so excited about it. My heart started racing, and I was like thinking about all these different ideas. If there's something like that in your life, follow it, pursue it. Whether it is just a hobby or it's something that you grow into over the years, follow it. And you may one day say, it's not for me anymore. That's okay. You don't have to sign up for something and say, this is it for the rest of my life. I have a lot of different passions. I'm grateful for my education, and I'm happy to have a job in that, and I do believe I will design forever. But doing things that fulfill you and get you excited, there's never a wrong answer there. So, of course, always be safe no matter what that may be. So, who knows? Okay, so as you can see, I'm going through, making my way around. I'm going into the orange right now. So all I'm doing is getting pretty close to the center. Again, hot glue for me, better for my patience level, but I'm really just making my way, fanning around. As we get through, it may be a little off kilter. I'm okay with that. This is your project and how it reflects for you. So if you're using either paint chips or construction paper, or if you have to take time to kind of color sheets out, all good. Everyone's will look great in the end. So we'll zoom through these guys, get all the way around. I wish that I'm a very, I love people. So for me to be here doing this alone, I want to ask you guys a bunch of questions. Like I want to know, what are your favorite colors? What do you guys know about colors? How do you typically use them in your day-to-day, whether it's, see what I messed? You guys, I feel like this is a little bit more of an orange yellow, so no big deal. Just gonna rip it off. Move them back, because the back sides you don't see. No one's gonna know. So I'm just gonna put that, except for you guys, don't tell my secrets. Put that one back over there, because I like the way that those shades come through. So when we're talking about colors, a lot of times there's a lot more words and it gets pretty confusing pretty quickly. So depending on what level you guys are at, there's different shades of colors. So you can get brighter or darker. There's different values, different hues, etc., etc. What I chose for this project is really saturated colors for bright and exciting to kind of capture your guys' eye and get you excited about this project. So what we're gonna do, coming around the bend. Let's see. I'm not quite picking the middle, but that's okay. Okay, I do think, see, this is the problem with hot glue. It's everywhere. So let's see, clean up a little bit. Also, with my college level classes, a lot of times we were building models, because interior design, it's a lot of spatial. You have to understand three-dimensional and how people will actually move through a space while applying functionality, colors, and those kinds of things. They did grade you on your craftsmanship, which means how well you're putting something together. If your lines are clearly cut, if you don't have glue all over the place. They do not usually recommend to use hot glue because it is so messy. Again, at that level, I do think I would have probably gotten an S-, not super great grade on my craftsmanship. But again, it still made it. We powered through. You don't have to have every skill in the world to be successful. You just have to have the willingness to learn and grow. Life does throw you curveballs, like we're all in one right now. But being able to grow and jump in and say, you know what, this is what I can do in this moment, and it's going to put me out of my comfort zone, you're only going to be stronger for it. So I am a huge advocate for jumping in and saying, you know what, never tried that before, gonna jump in and learn. You only become more dynamic, truthfully more successful as you just say yes. Jump in to the deep end, that with your parents watching if you're actually at a pool. But just jump in. You won't regret it. Okay, we're getting around the bend here, adding some purple here. I think I'm feeling pretty good. So progress pick, we're getting there. I will go through and kind of glue these flaps down so that it doesn't have that huge fanning effect. As you can see, I mean, that's kind of cool in general. But the goal is for it to hang up on a wall eventually, and that doesn't look as exciting as something which would stay up. So that would be my next level of advice there, to keep everything where it needs to be. Alrighty. When you get to where you start getting close to your red ones again, it may be nice to do a little bit of a tuck under so that those can kind of lay a little bit nicer. So what I mean by that is this purple was coming on top of that red, which I didn't love as much. And I kind of want them to tuck under and overlap. So if you can see, they're going to overlap now rather than this guy being on top, which kind of was throwing off that circle a bit. So we're trying to avoid that guy. If you like it, leave it. No pain in that game. Here we go. Let's see, just a few more. I'll do this purple here, and then I'll do my pink. Let's see. There's gonna be, I'll try and fit 2 pink in there. We'll do it. I believe in us. I believe in a thing called love. And I believe in figuring it out, making it work. Even though it didn't go in there perfectly, so we have to lift it up a little bit more in the back. That is okay. So if you use tape, it's kind of easy to pick some tape up, move it back, and put it down, and always add more if you need it to stay. If it's not staying the way you want it. So let's see. I might be okay. So I thought I wanted to add 2 pink, but I think I'm okay with just 1, the way that they're laying out together. So this is essentially goal number 1. Goal number 1 is to get this winged together in a circle here. Next, like as I mentioned, I'm gonna glue around the ring to keep everything in line. If you're looking for a smaller size, or if you don't like them wisping out, you can cut around the circle. You can make it as big or as small. You can make these different shapes, jagged, whatever you want, bedazzle it, whatever feels right to you. If you're feeling sparkly, now glitter is a different thing. So if you have glitter, you ask your parents or whoever's in charge, may I use glitter on this? Because there's a good chance someone else will ask you to clean up the glitter, and you will absolutely listen, I know it. But the glitter somehow is always there. So let's double check on the glitter before we do that one. But bedazzling, those kinds of things. So I'm gonna go through, glue mine down, get rid of these extras that I don't need. It's always nice to have a clear space. I will tell you, art is not clean, art is not organized, but I know that people get a little bit more productive if they get a clean work surface. So I've got my notes over here for the lesson, so I'll just move those to the side, give myself a little bit open room here so I can get these flaps down. Do that real quick. I'm just about around the end. So go back through, and if you have some that don't feel super secure, so there's a good way to test it. Obviously lift it up and it falls. You'll know which one needs some work. So go ahead, lift it up, see how it's doing. Mine seems pretty secure right now. Feels good to me. Clean up those little lines. If you did use hot glue, if you didn't use hot glue, wait until it feels dry before you do the next step. Because there's nothing worse than rushing something. I have a really hard time with patience, and that's why I use hot glue. That is not what I recommend. I recommend figuring out how to be patient early on, so then later in life you don't feel like I do when things take longer than you expect them to. So with that, the next piece we're going to do is we're going to cut a hole here in the middle. Depending on how you put your pieces together, you may need some help with this. So mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever's with you right now, making sure you get through this okay. If you can't do it yourself, ask them to help you to poke the hole right in the middle, as close to the middle as they can. So we get that, and then what we're going to do is put the piece through here and tie it off, and then we'll get to the next step. So we'll put it through the middle, but go ahead and put your... don't probably do what I do. And if you're going to do what I do, have a parental person do it, because it's a little dangerous. We may just cut this portion out, literally and figuratively. Okay, perfect. So I just pushed through there, so you can see it coming through the other side a little bit. Awesome. So that's going through there. So what I want to do now is take my end of my egg. So again, if you have one of those split pins, awesome. If you have a button that goes through and you can tie it off and something secure like that, whatever makes the most sense to get this to be an anchor, use that. There are no wrong answers in our class. If someone tells you otherwise, no comment. Alrighty, so here we go. So I push that through and I pull it all the way tight through there. So on this side, honestly, I'm pretty okay with that. You can tell it's not completely on center, so if you move it around a little bit, and at that point, I do not recommend gluing it. We'll find out if that's okay, but you can see it's going to be able to rotate, which is super cool. So like I said, I haven't done this before, so it's kind of exciting to see how it works. So that's awesome. This is not the end result. What we're going to do is put this on through another piece so it can anchor. And from there, we're just going to make it look a little bit more complete. You don't have to do the next step necessarily, but what we're going to get to is the goal of what I feel like an exercise might be fun with your families. Not every day, maybe a day where you feel like you want to kind of talk through something, or you want to say, hey, this is what's going on, and I think this might be a help to aid you through that. So next step, grab something I forgot to mention that you might need in the beginning, so I will correct the supplies list. Let's see here. So this is a piece of cardboard from my garage that I found, and I cut off pretty imperfectly. Perfectly imperfect, totally okay with that. This is essentially what I see you putting up on a wall where this will hang. And at the top, you're going to write a nice fun saying about color, whatever you want it to be. I'm creatively thinking about it right now, so I'll get back to you on what I'm thinking I'm going to write down for mine. It could be as simple as today's color is, and you either put it to the color that you're feeling that day, spin it around and see where you land and see if that's right. It could be a number of things. However you want to use it, you can. But the goal is to anchor this guy to this, and this can then lean against a wall, can hung up on a wall, somewhere where you guys can meet and talk about it. Whether it's in your room if you like it because it's exciting and fun colors, wherever you want to put it, totally up to you. So that's the next step. We're going to go ahead and put this. So essentially we're going to cut another hole so that this guy can go through this one. So as close to the middle as I can get. If we want to get precise on middle, you can take the time to do that. My dad is an engineer, and he would take the time to do that. And I respect him for all the time he takes to make sure everything is spot on. I'm just a little bit different. So, difference means good things, guys, if you're different. Promise. Everyone's different. There is no one of us that's exactly the same. So when you do that, all we're trying to do, just like how you did the first one, you just want to push this through. For mine, I have twine as my anchor, so I need to twirl it up a little bit and make it tighter so that it will fit through the hole. Here we go. And then sometimes I can just use my scissor to push the piece of string through, so then I can grab it from the other side, so that's kind of helpful too. So then you push it, hold it tight on the other end, and from there it will spin, which is awesome. So I'm holding it pretty tightly on the other side. My goal, I'm probably just going to tie a knot off on the back as tight as I can. It might get a little bit loose, so if you have other strategies out there, feel free to do what makes you feel good. But you can go ahead and put it face down and then figure out what you're going to do on this end. So this is where I haven't thought through, I guess. But all I can recommend Because if you have the split pin, pretty easy for you. Good on you. If you didn't have a split pin, you get to just be more innovative, more ingenious, more of an experiment, and figure out how it's going to work for you. So I tied it actually pretty tight. You can't probably see that, but I tied it pretty easily. It's a little tail. So when it comes back up, he is able to spin around. And when we were talking about colors and what they might mean to you, I want you to refer back to that. So for me, if I'm having a blue day, like we talked about, I might feel a little bit sad. I might feel not super excited about what's happening. I might feel confused or just not really sure how to feel. If you wake up feeling excited and ready for life and energized, you might put it on a yellow and be like, hey guys, I'm ready for today, whatever it looks like, and I'm super excited for art class, math class, do my chores, anything, all those things. So with that, that's kind of the goal. This is the tool you're going to use. So I'm going to set it down. I'm going to write boop, 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 a little thing at the top, complete it, and that's it, you guys. So let me do that real quick. I didn't come up with anything clever, so if you have some clever ideas of what to put at the top, send them my way. I'm always here, always open for suggestions. So let's see. So I'm going to just put a quick little arrow so I know what is the top. So I know what I'm looking for. Boop, 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 boop. So I drew a little arrow to the top. So that's going to be where you're putting it right in there. Say, that's how I feel today, and you get to tell us why. Again, theory, it's up to you on this. You get to decide what red means. It could mean the most exciting thing in the world. It could mean you're in love. Oh my gosh. It could mean I'm a little scared. That's okay. Everything's okay. I want to encourage you to feel what you're feeling and tell your friend, tell your family how you're feeling. The more that you say that, the more that you articulate it, the easier things get. I don't know if you've ever felt the idea that you felt sad or scared or angry and you didn't say anything, and then out of nowhere you freaked out and like stormed off and had this crazy, meltdown of whatever that looks like for you. It's happened to me. It still does. But it's kind of those emotions we don't say, right? When we feel them, those tend to come out in ways that are harmful and not how we actually intended or meant for them to come out. So the more that you say how you feel with color or with just a quick little, hey guys, this is what's going on today, the better you'll feel and the more communication you guys will have with each other. So I think that's awesome. Or if you just want this to be a fun art piece and you don't want to talk about your emotions, I would say not highly recommended, coming from where I sit. That's up to you. It's your life, it's your art piece. Let it speak the way you want it to. So let me finish this up. Alrighty, now, a piece is never done until you sign it. So at the bottom, right or left hand, which way you want to go. I'm left-handed. It's okay if you're not left-handed. You can be creative if you're right-handed too. So sign your art piece, my signature. Make sure you can barely read it, just like a doctor's signature. So right here, I have, today I'm feeling like. Today I'm really actually feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like growth, I'm feeling high energy, I'm feeling excited, and that's going to be that green for me. How do you guys feel? Thanks so much for following. Let me know if you have any questions, any ideas of other things we can do. We can totally learn more about color together. Send them my way. Thanks for listening. I hope your next class is super fun. That's my sweet angel dog in the background, Stuart. He was so good the whole time. Something had to happen. Totally cool. Thanks, guys.